Welcome to Luminescence Common Sense Spirituality, a show designed to share spiritual insights with you so that you can comprehend the universe and how it functions. You are about to experience raised consciousness. This is a place where spiritual principles are shared with the goal of assisting you to expand your understanding of both the seen and unseen worlds. Luminescence Common Sense Spirituality helps you to discern the timeless truths handed down from wise sages through the ages, from the airy-fairy nonsense that is being taught today. Now, here is your host, Sharon Lynn Wyeth.
Welcome to Luminescence Common Sense Spirituality. It is Sharon Lynn Wyeth with you here again, the creator of Namology Science, the ability to know all about a person's personality and the soul's purpose simply from a person's name. Now, the beautiful inspirational song you just heard, the beginning of the music of it, is called Shine by Dee L'Amour, and you know that we always end our broadcast with her entire song. I love her music, and if you do too, you can hear more of it at dlamour.com. It's the letter D, then LEMOR.com. Now, today's topic is how do we find and heal the hidden traumas that are created when we experience traumas? How do we heal those traps that happen? How do we clear the rechemicalization that takes place when the body protects itself? Do we heal on multiple levels of existence or just the one where our focus is? How do we access our own energy to facilitate a proper healing? Does our family constellation contribute to our traumas? What are the advantages of stem cell technology and or quantum work? And our special guest today is Bart Smyth. Now, he's internationally renowned shamanic healer with 44 years in martial arts and 30 years in the healing arts. Bart Smyth, now, I think you pronounce your name different than Smith, don't you, Bart?
Yes, it's Bart Smyth.
Smyth. Thank you. I was going to say it's an S-M-Y-T-H. Smyth holds the titles Master Practitioner, Instructor of the Yuen method since 1996, Medicine Man ordained by the Shipibo tribe in Peru, Grand Master of Tai Chi, QiGong, and is certified in Thai Shiatsu. You have so many titles here, Bart. It's just amazing all the things that you are certified in. Anyway, he combines and blends these technologies, fulfilling a wide range of client issues. Bart has assisted well over 40,000 people worldwide in clearing chronic and debilitating conditions, as well as coaching and consulting. His mastery is in simplicity, combined with timing, intuitive guidance, and the ability to give clear feedback. Welcome to Luminescence. Bart, it's nice to have you with us.
Thank you very much. It's nice to be here. I'm up in Sweden, and the sun's still up here.
Which is really nice because it's a lot later there than it is here.
Yeah.
So out of all the different combinations of things that you're trained in, did you have favorites?
Well, the quantum medicine is something that permeates all my work. So this is, I would say, my go-to kit.
Okay, and how do you define quantum medicine?
Everything else is, the ability to make changes with thought and directed energy.
Well, it's just remarkable what you are able to do. Okay, so I want to start with the hidden traps that are created when we experience traumas. Now, I was just listening to a German broadcast the other day, and it was somebody that had studied with this German man from 1910, and they were talking about how every illness or disease, according to this German doctor, was created by trauma, and then our body reacts as a way to try to protect us and actually save us. And until we clear the trauma, we don't get to heal the illness or however it showed up in our body. Would you agree with that or disagree?
Absolutely, I agree. Any trauma can leave a residue of thought programmed into the cells, the experience. It could be an impact trauma, it could be an emotional trauma. Whatever that is, it's still there until you clear it.
So how would you go about clearing it or finding out first what it is that created the trauma? Because according to the German doctor, that the majority of these are subconscious.
True. And what is nice about the work that I've been trained in is that you can actually access the subconscious by working with the body's own intelligence. We have a biocomputer that's super intelligent. It remembers everything and anything that's ever happened to us. So that information could be accessed. Some people use kinesiology, a muscle test, or just sensing strong or weak reactions and responses in the energy while you're working and speaking to people. So this is something that is once accessed, then you can work with the body's own intelligence to find it, make the supportive energy for the body and the spirit and the mind to work together to remove that and delete that, simply said. So.
Could you give us an example from one of your clients without giving away a name?
Well, sure. I mean, I've had thousands. If you go to my website, I've had people contact me in the middle of a sporting event, right? And the injury could be to themselves or their horse. I do a lot of work with people who are in horse competitions. So I can access the horse and the rider. So now I had a horse in a dressage competition one time, which was pulling to the left side. It was dragging the left leg. It wasn't gathering, is what they say. So what I found was the rider had an injury in its back and a misalignment in her hips. So I corrected the rider, and then the horse corrected. And so her manager called me in the middle of a competition, which was kind of exciting.
I think that's very exciting. So you were able to do it right there on the spot for him.
Right there on the spot. And, yeah.
And did it help the horse come in and recorrect? And now we're all curious if the horse won or not.
I got off the phone. They were happy with it. It was an intermission. They were gone, and so that was fine. So I actually never heard back from them about that competition. Clients call, we get the work done, and they're satisfied. But anyway, I've had a lot of other situations where people will call with the woman who promoted me in Atlanta, Georgia. She had a root canal that she was trying to avoid, and that's what we did. She called me with an infected tooth, and with that, we corrected the infected tooth, and she no longer needed to have that surgery. So then she wanted to promote me in Atlanta.
So that's exciting. Now, I will admit that you worked with me, and I have always had lung issues from having parents with chain smokers and me being having secondhand smoke in my lungs. And since you worked with me, I really noticed it. We had thought right away that there was improvement, but I really noticed it because I was up in Massachusetts this last week, and we did a lot of walking and a lot of hiking, and I didn't run out of breath once. And I thought, all right, Bart, thank you.
Nice. Congratulations. That's good.
Thank you. So I wanted everybody to know that I have experienced this myself, and therefore I wanted to share Bart with all of you. So with the trauma, there's a rechemicalization that takes place when the body goes and protects itself. So do you have to use chemicals, or how do you get rid of that rechemicalization?
Well, everything's, as I said, the body's the biocomputer. This biocomputer has the ability to access, with the proper direction, we work with the hormonal system, biochemistry, whatever. It could be toxins from the environment. Once the body gets signaled, and you do it by a search and find, so it's not like you have to be psychic. Although after you do this for a long time, information just drops in quickly, right? So with that, there's a signaling to the body to use its own intelligence. Could be the lymphatic system, could be its own quantum ability to displace or disperse subatomic quantum particles that relate to that chemical compound or stimulus in the nervous system and hormonal system. And so, like, say there's a receptor site. You say you're wired for stress, right? So people can get addicted to the adrenaline or even the stress hormones, you know. So we want to work on the receptor sites to change their what they're accepting and what they're calling for, and make that more adaptable to endorphins other than, you know, adrenaline. And so then the body isn't sitting there waiting for that next shot. Yeah.
So Bart, what if somebody came into you and just says, I have pain all over, or I always hurt here, but then it moves and it goes over there? If they cannot identify exactly what it is, are you still able to help them?
Yeah, I don't need to know. In fact, it's better that I don't know. I mean, the work that you and I did, we actually worked in different ways of communication that were verbal. We discussed a few things, and with that, the intelligence brought something up, and when we worked on that verbally and energetically, then the resulting effect in the lungs took place. So this was a compounded situation, but we discovered something that was different, and also combined with that is secondary smoke of your family. Would you agree?
Yes, we did. So things can. It's never just one thing, is what I'd like to say. And also, if things are moving a lot, if we have the changing of location, I'd just say this would be a red flag that it's mental, a lot of mental energy in there. So that's the other thing. So you can work with the mind, train thoughts, reactions, triggers, things like this. You know, it's really amazing, because I will just tell everybody that when I was working with Bart, he's so laid back and so calm about it, and you can think, okay, nothing's happening, and then you get this incredible result. So, I mean, it was really kind of shocking. Bart had come recommended to me by people I really trust and know, and that's why I said, okay, I'm going to call Bart, and then I was just amazed, you know, because I've had this the vast majority of my life, and had worked on it and had cleared enough out that I appeared fairly normal, except for when I'm walking uphill or trying to run too fast. And this was wonderful, because that's what I was doing this past week, and totally unaffected. So I have another question for you. Do we heal on multiple levels of existence, or just the one where our focus is?
Multiple levels. Yeah, it's like, I liken it to, you know, in the shamanic world, we talk about soul retrieval, right? And one of my Native Americans friends said, you know, his teachers told him to quit using an alarm clock, right? Because he kept waking him up and freaking him out, and his soul was taking off. And I thought, you know, I used to wake up to heavy metal and grab a cigarette and a cup of coffee and get ready for my day when I was a contractor. You know, that's how I lived. High wired. So you just don't know what's going to affect you, and where your soul or your spirit or your energy field or your energy bodies can be affected. So there's other dimensions, there's parallel universes, there's unknown spaces, empty spaces. These are just as vital as the full spaces. So we work on all levels to find any weakness, any void, any lack of integrity, so to speak, and interconnection to the whole. So it's exciting, and it's really vast. And so,
would you say, Bart, that it also includes like anything that you've brought forward from another lifetime?
Well, I think everything we come with is that. So, yeah, I can tell you a story if you want on my awakening to what I wound up being able to do. I think it started with my mom, who was the first contact with human touch, hygiene and things. She was a physical therapist at the Mayo Clinic, but she would work on us, massage us, teach us how to clean our ears and all this other stuff. So that got us as a young child aware of this. But later on, I had experiences where friends needed assistance, and I would just use my intuition, and touch would happen, and things would take place, and I saw that there was this ability there to achieve results. It was instant. My hands would go to the right place on a friend, and their headache would go away, or the energy would go to the right meridian. But as far as past lives, I've been visited by many masters and Native Americans in different times in my life, and it's like I had no clue. They're trying to wake me up. And, even the medicine man from the Hopi Indian tribe came. I was in a bar in Pecos, New Mexico, after getting a truck out of a muddy ditch. We were covered from my head to toe in mud, and having a beer and eating something. And this guy came over and said, "This is for you." And he gave me a handful of what's called peyote or mescaline. He said, "It's mescaline. This is for you." And my friend goes, "That's a Hopi." I go, "What's that?" Hopi Indian. And so, that my journey was, they were knocking on the door, so I could just say, okay, there's obviously
it's obviously
knowing this. People knew a lot more than I did, is all I'd say. I feel like I was, the Forrest Gump of the spiritual world, because I really wasn't
but
spiritual.
People kept knocking on your door, which was really cool. So we're going to talk about how we access our own energy to facilitate a proper healing after we come back from this break. Stay tuned.
Your conscious connection to a more mindful world. OMTimes Radio. IOM-FM. OMTimes Magazine is one of the leading online content providers of positivity, wellness, and personal empowerment. A philanthropic organization, their net proceeds are funneled to support worldwide charity initiatives via Humanity Healing International. Through their commitment to creating community and providing conscious content, they aspire to uplift humanity on a global scale. OMTimes, co-creating a more conscious lifestyle.
Hello, I'm Sandy Sedgbeer, host of OMTimes Magazine's flagship radio show, What is Going On? My passion is sifting through information, research, and innovations from new thought teachers, speakers, and researchers, pushing back the boundaries of what we know about life, energy, metaphysics, and the universe. I love shifting perceptions about who we are, why we're here, and how quickly impossible becomes normal when we open our minds, expand our awareness, and accept that the only limits that exist are those we place upon ourselves. So if you're the kind of forward-thinking, eager investigator of what lies beyond the current reality that most perceive, why not make a date to come play with me in the field of possibilities at 4 p.m. Pacific Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Time every Thursday, and together we can discover what's really going on.
Mark Twain said the two most important days in your life are the day you were born and the day you find out why. The why is hidden in your name. Sharon Lynn Wyeth has created a scientific way of deciphering your name to reveal your contract for this lifetime. And your name even specifies the 7 areas that are subsets of your soul's overall goal. Your name identifies who you are to both yourself and others. What does your name say about you? Contact Sharon Lynn Wyeth at info@knowthename.com for your stunning name review.
These are the sounds of a dinner that almost didn't happen. A dinner now served thanks to people like you. Due to COVID-19, 17 million more Americans may face hunger. Feeding America is helping our neighbors in need. And if you're able, you can too. Donations are being accepted at feedingamerica.org/coronavirus. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
Welcome back to Luminescence, Common Sense Spirituality. I'm Sharon Lynn Wyeth, your host, and our special guest today is Bart. And Bart, I want you to say your own last name because to me it looks like Smith, and I know that's not how you pronounce it.
Well, I've had a lot of arguments with the Irish. My dad, our heritage is Ireland, and it's Smyth. It's from a Northern Ireland town, and they call it Smith or Smyth. But anyway, Smyth, yeah.
Okay. So, and it's spelled, everyone, Smyth. So yes. It's when you're looking up Bart, it's Smyth, but his website is easy to find. It's amoderndayshaman.net. And I just want to stress that it's .net because we're also used to putting something else there. So it's amoderndayshaman.net. Okay. So how will somebody access their own energy to facilitate a proper healing, especially when they haven't had this experience before?
Well, I mean, there's different ways. There's a myriad of touch methods. There's meditation, QiGong, and Tai Chi. And you were asking me what was my favorite. If I was to name one thing that I could say was my favorite, I would say the Tai Chi and QiGong. Because in that practice, we move first into stillness, and then in that stillness become quite aware of our substantial and insubstantial energies, meaning, what's full and what's empty in the body, and how to use that fullness and emptiness to move the body, and that's what creates the fluid movement of Tai Chi. And this has transformed my whole experience due to the awareness of energy and the sensations of energy, and being able to manifest that in real time while you're playing push hands or sparring, as it were, in Tai Chi. But also it strengthened my immune system and just benefited me on many, many levels. And where I was unable to get assistance from Western medical, and even my own healing work was benefiting, but the injuries I'd acquired were so serious, the only thing I could do was actually utilize the listening energy that I gained from practicing Tai Chi and QiGong, which means the stillness inside, which one can then watch and or help increase by gathering the energy and cultivate your own energy. So that's what I would like to say first to people, because there's many different modalities where one can access their energy just by thinking, am I happy or am I sad, right? If I could look up at the sky and smile, boom, you're accessing hormones of joy and pleasure. In fact, when I have clients it's a basic neuro-linguistic program thing, but it works, right? If I'm having a problem of focus or stress or even depression, I can just do that. And I've had clients do that have a habit of talking about their problems and accessing negative energy and the hormones of stress. I just say, okay, take a look up at the sky. We're just going to do this little exercise and smile, and bam. And then, on the hardcore ones, I tell them, whatever you do, don't smile. So then they smile. And just like right now, we're accessing joy and happiness. So Tai Chi and QiGong have actually been something that I believe has carried me further and helped all the tools I use to be more potent, streamlined, and what would I say? Powerful.
A little more powerful and focused. So, for people that aren't aware of either Tai Chi or QiGong, would you describe each one and then let us know what their differences are?
Yeah, well, Tai Chi is QiGong with the QiGong principles applied to what's called Chinese boxing, or this is a version of Kung Fu, which means good practice, or it's a martial art. It's a slow-moving martial art. So the principles are this, and we could do this just together while you listen to this. If you get yourself in a nice, strong, stiff back chair, sit with your feet flat, and with your spine flat, straight, we visualize from our ears to our head top a line to the top of our head, and visualize a silver thread connecting to the top of your head at the crown at this point where you would draw a line from your ears to the top of the head. This is referred to as the by-way point. It's a power point in our energetic system, or road map of energy that Chinese medicine acupuncturists will use. We have two main energy flows in our spine, up the back and down the front. And so this point is a point that I can visualize my head top being pulled up by. If I swallow, my tongue will stick on the roof of the mouth, and I leave it there. This connects two main energy flows, and there's different ways you can play with this to test it for your own power and strength. I can have my feet standing and turn my toes in, and put my arms out and have somebody push down lightly on them, and make sure you're not injured if you're doing this at home. Please don't do anything crazy, but you can play this game at home. And turn your toes in to the center, pigeon-toed, hold your arms straight out, and push down. You'll find resistance there. Now you turn your toes out and push down with your tongue on the roof of the mouth. You'll find resistance, and then drop the tongue and see what happens, okay? So with the tongue on the roof of the mouth, and we're sitting there, this is a basic QiGong posture, sitting or standing. So those who cannot stand, please know that by doing this is actually how I healed a very terrible head trauma. Nobody could really help me. And I could lay in bed and focus on this crown point, and then I can swallow, leave the tongue on the roof of the mouth, and bring my mind down the spine, under the belly button, about 2 inches. I can touch myself there and bring my thoughts there. So you can do that right now. Bring your thoughts to that point. It's called the Dantian. It's a power plane, a point of focus. Some people relate to it as the center of gravity also. And so if I focus here, wherever I focus is where my energy goes. And so this is, the buzzword of creating, deliberate creation, the laws of attraction and all that. And so there, in that, what we focus on will attract into our life. And also what we don't want to focus on, what we're afraid of, will also, if we're not clear on that, attract that into our life. And we were talking about traumas before. So in this ability to be aware of the subconscious attachment to any type of trauma, we can sense different tensions or pains or something while we're sitting here, and we don't have to know what that is, but we can look at that and come back to our center, Sharon. And oftentimes these will shift and change just by bringing attention and then bringing the attention back to the Dantian. So I welcome people to do this. I do this in my Tai Chi classes all the time, and people will have injuries and stuff, and it's really just being aware of it, noticing everything, nervous thought, depression, whatever, and come back to the center under the navel, or navel in Swedish. So if we focus here, our energy comes here, it fills, and then it will actually fill and then spill, and it'll come through the bones, the long-celled muscles of the arms and legs and torso and everything, and then it'll go through our visceral organ muscles. And yeah, we don't have to really know or do anything, but we're actually giving the body the structure and the connection with the tongue on the roof of the mouth and the focus on this center point, that the body can then gather the energy and allow it to spill out, and the body's intelligence will take that energy and create great health. I mean, the astronauts use this to build bone density before they go into space. I don't know if you knew that. So the QiGong. So I had many clients. I had schools in Las Vegas up in the senior center, and they would come with osteoporosis, and after 6 months to a year, they had quite a big change. So by doing very little, but giving the body the proper alignment and focus, we are accessing our energy. Okay?
I think that's great. Thank you. You know, I did both of these when I lived in China, and QiGong to me was very difficult, or it was very challenging, I ought to say, because it was so still, and the Tai Chi was slow movement, and I was just amazed at the 70 and 80-year-olds that had such wonderful balance, you know, that they could do the Tai Chi, because it's so slow moving, and it reminded me of my ballet days, but very slow moving. And I used to think I need to have my head go somewhere, you know, while I'm moving this slowly, you know.
And that's really, oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, it's like a type of meditation at the same time, because if not, your head goes nuts because it's so slow.
Well, you know, I tell people, you know, I went to Tai Chi because of an injury. I've done everything in the health field because of injuries I've had doing other sports or whatever. But when I went to Tai Chi, it drove me crazy. It's like, but it was the only martial art I could do, and I had to train. You know, you could say I'm addicted to training in the martial arts. I've been doing it since I'm 12, but it's just something that I think is so vital to the rest of my life, to be able to bring the body-mind connection together, that I went there. But after 6 months, I had a profound experience with Tai Chi. And just like you're saying, the meditation, they refer to it, and I'm sure you heard this, but it's referred to as meditation in motion. And so this, I mean, I had flat feet, a spinal injury, and extremely weak kidneys. I had weak kidney chi when I came to San Francisco, that I'd gotten from my father, who was in World War II. So they didn't have therapies for the soldiers coming back from World War II, and my dad was front line and into enemy line, a special forces type guy with Patton. So he really had a lot of stress in his system, and he passed that weakness in the kidneys to me. And so after 2 years of Tai Chi, my acupuncturist said, "Oh, you finally have a kidney pulse." I go, "What do you mean?" He goes, you haven't had a kidney pulse. He goes, "You were on the verge of a heart attack when you came to me and started Tai Chi." So I'm glad I didn't know that. And that's one of the things that Chinese medical doctors don't diagnose and put that fear in your system, because things can get like 30% or 40% worse, just like a placebo can make you 40% better. So anyway, it's very healing. And I wanted to say the other thing that Tai Chi did was it stopped the monkey mind. And that's one of we all suffer from that. I used to be doing two things at once all the time, trying to make things go faster. And my body actually stopped me from doing that. And I learned how to learn again, because what I'd seen about myself was I wanted to be the best I could be and also be the fastest I could be. So I was always going to get the information delivered as quickly as possible and achieve things as quickly as possible. But maybe I missed a few steps, right? And Tai Chi, you go so slowly, and it taught me how to learn and go slowly in the beginning, be clear, focused, and then you can go to the next level, and you don't have to come back and correct what you didn't get in the first place.
I think it's fascinating from a different point of view, because I do the namology science, that you said that you got your kidney problems from your dad. So whatever letters are in your last name is what we inherit from the DNA through our families. And the first vowel of a Y, which is what you have in your last name, is what is connected to kidney issues. That's where that sits in the name.
I want to tell everybody too, and thank you for sharing the work that we did with you. But you gave me a session too, so it was a great exchange, and I'm thrilled with your work, and I would like to study it. But I'm sending my friends and my family to you. So
yeah, which I really appreciate. Thank you. So
absolutely.
So you talk about family constellations and how those contribute to our traumas. And I would like to get into that right after this next break. So stay tuned, everybody, and we'll see more about how our family constellation influences us.
Thank you.
A conscious lifestyle for a mindful life. OMTimes Radio. IOM FM. Host your show on IOM FM, the radio network of OMTimes Media, one of the more recognized brand names in the conscious community, and is backed by the extensive marketing reach of OMTimes. Hosting a show on IOM FM immediately connects you with our extensive dedicated community.
Vox Novus, the new voice. Vox Novus, the new dimension. Vox Novus, thought and movement leaders who will share from their experience and offer tools to help us navigate our rapidly changing world. My name is Victor Furman. Join me every Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern on OMTimes Radio for Vox Novus, the new voice.
Are you feeling lost, confused, absolutely clueless? No way out, over, under, or through? Then it's time to have the Light Keepers, through their conduit, Sharon Lynn Wyeth, guide you by shining their light, illuminating the right path for you. Let Sharon share the wisdom of the ancient masters to guide you on what is coming next for you and to show you the silver lining in your current circumstances. Contact Sharon Lynn Wyeth at info@knowthename.com for a joyful, info-packed Light Keepers session.
If I could be you,
and you could be me,
for just 1 hour,
if you could find a way
to get inside
each other's mind,
walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out, and for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Luminescence, Common Sense Spirituality. And this is Sharon Lynn Wyeth. And my special guest today is Bart Smyth. And I hope I pronounced it right this time. What do they say? 3 times is the charm. And you can find Bart for yourself on his website, amoderndayShaman.net. And I just want to stress again the .net, amoderndayShaman.net, because a lot of us think of something else behind the dot instead of net. Okay, so Bart, right before the break, we were going into the beginning of the family constellation, and how does that contribute to what's going on with us?
It's so important. The Bert Hellinger work that is throughout Europe. I've been here since '95, traveling, working, teaching, and studying, and being involved. I got involved with Bert Hellinger's constellation work, and this is where people will be surrogates for past family members. Could be, a lost uncle from many generations back, or present day, whatever. And the person will actually take on the energy and the voice of that soul. And I've experienced that work, and that's where I first got in touch with my father's condition after being in World War II. And I had experienced what I saw in the constellation one night with my father when we were talking. But war is just insanity, and it's terrible. And he was in the thick of it. So in this constellation, all these experiences from war showed up, and people in the audience came up and portrayed the soldiers that were killed, and my father, and all this other stuff. And my father was just not there, right? He was present to it and not there, but that's the way he was. He was present to us, but not really there. He never really came home from World War II. Part of him stayed there. And it was like, when I saw that, well, one thing, I burst into tears, because, I just like, wow, that's why. We never knew, because he never talked about the war, So this affected us in a family way, that we had this unspoken, out of touch and connection with the father figure that was loving and intelligent and there, but not getting the value of the family. You know what I mean? He wasn't connecting, so you didn't have that reciprocity and joy of connecting. And that went through my brothers in my life, and my brother suffered greatly with drugs and died. He was a heroin addict, and me, I was exposed to all that. I went the other way. I think I obsessed on sports and work, and mastered those as best I could to be successful. But there was that disconnect that I had in my system too. And having children and loving them dearly, it's been a real process to be able to actually be present to them and allow and receive the exchange of love. So, and that's so vital to our health. I mean, it's like, it's everything. Love wants to flow, wants to be received and given. So that's one thing, as from my own experience, I'd like to share, because there's a lot of that out there. And other family systems, a simple one is alcoholism, and that can be something that took place 3 generations back, and there might not be another participant in that, imbibing and drinking and all that, but the behaviors and the management that took place in the family 3 generations back can come forward, and people aren't in a free, expressive exchange in their families. They're still in this codependent or whatever management system, taking care of as they say in Alcoholics Anonymous, the pink elephant in the room. Nobody wants to talk about it, right? So that can come through and resurface in the behaviors, and even maybe the drinking that was started, and the seeds were born 3 generations back.
When you were saying that, Bart, I was wondering that sometimes when I'm looking, somebody has reincarnated 3 generations down from where they were first incarnated, and maybe they get to solve the problem because they originated it when they were here. So it goes through the family until it can come back to them again, so that they can solve the problem that they created.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, that's a good one. Thank you.
Because I think we create our problems to have the experience of solving them. That's why we don't want anybody to fix us necessarily. We just want assistance along the way when we get stuck.
And that's the important thing. It's like, people it says international healer, and it's like I take the approach with everybody that they are their own healer, and they heal themselves. And I don't come in with some kind of knowing, but in reflection, if it works, if the reflected thought or energy has a resulting effect for the person, it's because it came from them telling me what to do for them, because they don't know how to do it themselves or can't, right? So I just know if I came on and like I acted like I knew everything about them, then parts of the body will just shut down. We do want to take care of ourselves, and we do want to be empowered. And if we knew that we had that power to do it and to work in the ways that you work or I work or many other people work, and we know that we're actually in charge of that process, then it's something that would be more of an investigation, I think, for the individual instead of like a sense of resistance, maybe, because we don't want other people to take care of us ultimately.
Right. We just want them to hold the space for us.
Exactly, yeah.
I always think we're holding the space and sharing information, whether it be energetic information or knowledge information or whatever. We're just sharing some kind of information, which when and holding the space allows the person that's with us to grow from simply us holding the energy for them.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, it's like it's beautiful, you know. It's I could say, you know, when I look back at my upbringing, you know, it's like there's these jokes about kids in the 50s and 60s. I'm a 60s, but you know, my parents never knew where I was. And if I had to go to the hospital to get sewed up, that was what happened. You know, it happened on a couple occasions. And nowadays, of course, there's difference in environment, but there's this lack of, it could be somewhat of an overbearing type of situation I see, where people are not allowed to experience themselves fully and not getting that sense of independence and control and power that and adventure. I hope I'm saying this right.
Yeah, well, we call that today the helicopter parents. At least that's what we call them in the school system. You know, where the children don't get as much freedom as you and I did when we were kids. But at the same time, it's a different society. It's a different way. I mean, we knew everybody in the neighborhood, the name of everybody, exactly. All of the kids at school and where they lived. And we were always outside playing or at somebody else's house. And as long as we got home by dinner time, we were good. Nobody worried about us. And even when I was rearing my children, I wouldn't want them out in the front yard playing by themselves. I didn't know if they'd still be there or not get taken or, you know, I mean, we had cars drive by and try to get my kids to go over to them to give them directions, and kids got kidnapped that way. And I mean, I had to teach them all kinds of be careful type of things, you know, And so it's just different. And I just hope for our grandchildren that we can get society back to where they had the kind of freedom that we had. Because I think that's really important. Before we run out of time, I'd like you to just touch on the advantages of stem cell technology and your quantum work.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's unbelievable. I mean, I have a technology that's it's not transdermal. It's just, is it okay if I talk about that here?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Well, I have what's called the X39, and this product stimulates the copper peptide that stimulates 4,000 to 5,000 genes regeneration, and then which then in turn will activate your stem cells, which the stem cells are what we rebuild and help with recovery from any type of trauma, physical, or what I've seen with my experience here, emotional too, and other. But stem cell technology like this is something that has been profoundly beneficial, that our own body's intelligence gets stimulated to function at its optimum. These stem cells go and find, just like the chi will find the right place to go, the body will utilize this information and push out the old traumatized, even the memories and stuff I experienced for myself. The stem cells my own stem cells went in and rebuilt, and I'd had a lot of the PRP, which is they pull the blood out, centrifuge, and put it back in with your stem cells, and nothing worked. I spent over $10,000, and now this technology, after 2 years, I'm just blown away. So my vision's better, my spine is better, my knees that I've injured quite severely are fantastic. I'm running up and down stairs, and one of the things that we're doing, I'm actually doing carpentry these last 2 days on a place called the 4-H Club. So I invite families to investigate that, because my family's involved with that. The mother of my children is equestrian, but she's built this here in Sweden, and nature is the best way to get in touch with ourselves. And the children come out of Stockholm and these other cities. I know I'm going off the stem cell thing, but I just want the children are so important nowadays, and they come out here and they get with the horses, and their self-esteem goes up, their sense of presence with their friends, and communication builds. And so I just really think the 4-H is doing a great job worldwide. Back to stem cells. So stem cells, my mental acuity has returned after I've had 9 traumatic brain injuries, and I'd say 3 pretty solid spinal injuries from car accidents and ski jumping. And I'm 65. I'm blown away. I was out at the party the other day, at barbecue, and these people thought I was 52 years old. And I go, thank you. I go, how old are you? They looked older than me, and they're 52. I go, well, maybe you want to try these patches, because I used to look like I was 80.
Well, and there you go. Bart, I want to thank you so much for joining us. I really appreciate it and sharing your knowledge. Next week, everyone, we have Susan Rowland back with us again, and we'll be talking about the 5 regrets of the dying and how to avoid those 5 regrets that the dying have. And like always, we end our wonderful program with the music, The Shine. And once again, thank you for joining us. This is Sharon Lynn Wyeth signing off.
So long ago, gazing in the mirror, an image of an angel smiling back at her. No wounds or imperfections, just beauty and its glow. Her laughter and her heart, a reflection of her soul. And I want to shine like the sun and smile to stop the rain. And I want to dance with the wind and believe in dreams again. When the paintbrush of life stroke the canvas of her, the light slightly dimmed, her reflection unseen, and all that she knew, and all that would be, it vanished like the sun rays on a shimmering sea. And I want to shine like the sun and smile to stop the rain. And I want to dance with the wind and believe in dreams again. like